Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the Week 7 Thursday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings. We're going to talk through this slate. I'm going to cover some of my favorite plays. We're going to look at about 5 or 6 guys that I'm targeting on this Showdown slate. We'll talk about how I feel like you need to construct your lineup, who you should be playing at captain, if you should be paying up at captain, or if you should be going to like the mid-range or looking for cheap captain plays. We'll talk about value plays I like on this Showdown slate. I do have a cheap value guy that we'll touch on later on in the video. Definitely appreciate you guys' support on these Showdown videos. They do really good on my channel, so thank you guys so much. Make sure you do drop a like on this video if you enjoy these Showdown videos. I do really appreciate it. Make sure to let me know down in the comments who's your top captain play for this Showdown slate, if you're going to be paying up or if you're going to be looking in that mid-range or for a cheap captain. Also, if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. Be sure to click the notification bell, so that way you get notified every time I upload and you'll never miss out on any of my new videos. A lot of the people that watch my videos, I believe about 40% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So I would really appreciate it if you're one of those people that you do subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of content coming out NFL-wise, and for NBA, I'm going to be uploading NBA videos daily once NBA starts in about a week. I believe it's on next Tuesday, I believe. So definitely excited for NBA. Going to have a ton of NBA content coming out along with NFL. But let's go ahead and get started with this Showdown slate. Look at a guy that I'm trying to pay up for at the top, and that's Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, 16,800 as a captain play, 11,200 as a flex play. Definitely expensive at captain, but I think he's worth the price tag. If I can pay up for Hill at captain, I think he's the guy that I want to go to. Patrick Mahomes is the most expensive player on this slate. Patrick Mahomes is a little bit more expensive than Hill. I do prefer to go to Hill at captain because I think Hill just gives you a lot more upside. You're more likely to get like a 35, 40-point game out of Tyreek Hill rather than getting out of Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, Mahomes has a lot of upside as well. Rarely do I play quarterbacks at captain. I think Mahomes is definitely an exception because of just how much upside he has. But Mahomes is so expensive. Tyreek Hill's pretty expensive as well. If I can pay it for captain, I do prefer to go to Hill over Mahomes on this slate. Even after playing limited snaps last week, Tyreek Hill still went off for 5 catches, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He got 10 targets in that game against the Texans. It was a great spot for Hill. I originally was going to play him in cash on Sunday, last Sunday, but once we got the news that he was going to be limited and there were some concerns about how much he would play, I got off of him, which definitely sucked, but I still wouldn't have played Tyreek Hill even if I knew he was limited. I think he played literally like 50% of snaps, which 50% of snaps from Tyreek Hill still put up 25 DraftKings points. Just shows you how good this guy is. So, love Tyreek Hill here. You would expect the limitation to be off for this game, or at least should increase. He should play more than 50% of the snaps this week. I feel like he's probably going to be upwards of the 60-70 range. Might even play more than that if he's fully healthy. And he obviously has the highest upside out of anybody on the slate. Nobody could go for 35, 40 DraftKings points. Maybe Patrick Mahomes, but if you're going to get like a 30, 35, 40-point game from somebody, it's probably going to be Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill's the guy that I like to pay up for at the top. I think he's one of the highest upside plays on the slate. Definitely going to try and fit him in at captain if I can do so. But the next guy we're going to look at is Phillip Lindsay. I do like Phillip Lindsay from the Denver side. He's 13,200 as a captain play, 8,800 as a flex play. I love this matchup for both Denver running backs. Lindsay is about 2,000, 3,000 more than Royce Freeman is. I think Royce Freeman's $6K. Lindsay's nearly $9K. So you are saving a little bit of salary, or actually quite a bit of salary going down to Royce Freeman. But I think you do get more upside, more touchdown potential out of Phillip Lindsay. He's just been the higher upside running back so far this season. He's been a lot more productive than Royce Freeman has. Kansas City's run defense is one of the worst in the league. They've been really bad this season. It's a great spot for both guys, so if you want to go to Freeman, I could see that. But like I said, I think I do prefer Lindsay. I think he gives you more upside. And even if it's a negative game script and Denver's playing from behind, if they're forced to throw, Lindsay will be involved in the passing game. Both guys are using the passing game, actually. Freeman's actually been used a lot in the passing game this year as well. Normally that was like Phillip Lindsay's role. He was like the pass-catching back. Royce Freeman was kind of the goal line back. It's actually kind of been flip-flopped this year. They've been using Lindsay a lot in the goal line situations, and they've been using Freeman in pass down situations. But regardless, both guys will get targets. Lindsay's been getting consistent targets every week. So even if it's negative game script, Lindsay will still be involved. I think he's the running back I do prefer to go to, but if you're trying to fit in an extra stud, if you're trying to pay up for like both Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, it's probably going to be pretty hard to get Mahomes, Hill, and Lindsay. So you might have to drop down from Lindsay to Freeman, which I think is definitely okay. But if I can get to Phillip Lindsay, I do prefer him out of the two Denver running backs. Like this matchup a lot regardless. Kansas City's run defense, like I said, it's been one of the worst in the league this year. But the next guy we're going to look at is Joe Flacco. I know this may seem a little bit gross to play Joe Flacco, but I think he's actually a pretty solid play on this showdown slate. He's only $12K as a captain play. I'm more likely to use him as a flex option than a captain option because, like I said at the beginning of the video, rarely do I pay up for quarterback at captain. Flacco at $8K, though, as a flex play, I think makes a lot of sense. I think he's a very solid option here at home in a game where the Broncos are most likely going to be playing from behind. Right now, they're not really big underdogs. I think they're like 3.5 or 4-point underdogs, which is kind of surprising. I was expecting them to be like at least a touchdown dog, which I guess at home here, they're getting a lot of respect from Vegas. Flacco's price, I think that's one of the things that makes him very intriguing, the fact that he's only $8K. He's nearly $4,000 cheaper than Mahomes. I believe Mahomes is like upwards of $12K, or I think he might be $12K exactly. So you're saving a lot of salary. If you're choosing to go to one of the quarterbacks, you're saving a lot of salary off of Mahomes going down to Joe Flacco. I know Joe Flacco's not been that good this year, but when he has had his good games, they've been at home. So it's a small sample size, but it seems that he's been playing much better at home this year than on the road. Now he gets a home matchup in a primetime game, in a game where I do expect the Broncos to be trailing and going to have to throw. I think we could see Flacco go for like 200, 250 yards and a couple touchdowns, get you maybe 20 DraftKings points. And as long as Mahomes doesn't go for like 30, 35, getting 20 DraftKings points out of Joe Flacco is probably going to be what you want at 8K rather than paying up all the way for Mahomes. So if I have to choose one quarterback, I think I'm going to side with Joe Flacco, just given that he's nearly $4,000 cheaper than Patrick Mahomes. And those savings are going to be pretty crucial. There's not a ton of great value that I see on this showdown slate. There's a cheap guy we'll talk about that I do like, but there's not really any like 2K, 3K value plays that really stand out. So trying to save, like with the studs, if you can drop down, I think that always makes some sense, especially on this slate. But the next guy we're going to look at is Courtland Sutton. In lineups where I have Joe Flacco, I definitely want to try and pair him with one of his receivers, and I think Courtland Sutton's the guy that I want to go to. He's $11,400 as a captain play, $7,600 as a flex play. Love going to him as a cheaper captain option. Going to Sutton as a captain option is probably going to allow you to pay up for at least one of Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, if not both of them. I think Sutton makes a lot of sense as a captain option, gives you a lot of upside. He's going to allow you to fit in the higher priced Kansas City players, whether that's Hill, Mahomes, or Travis Kelce, whoever you want to go with. So far this season, Courtland Sutton has definitely been the wide receiver one for the Broncos. He's been Flacco's go-to guy lately. He's seen very consistent targets this season. So far this year, he's gotten 7 targets, at least 7 targets in every game this season. It's usually 7 to 9 targets per game for Courtland Sutton. Very consistent receiver. I think his worst game this year was like 9 DraftKings points, but he's pretty much giving you a 9, 10 DraftKings point floor. And obviously, if he gets into the end zone a couple times or at least once, he's probably going to put up a ceiling game where he goes for 20, 25 DraftKings points. And I think we could definitely see that happen here in a game where the Broncos are probably trailing. Courtland Sutton's going to see 8 to 10 targets. Could easily see him going for like 6 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown, getting you like 18, 19, 20 DraftKings points. And it's $7,600 as a cheaper flex play or $11,400 as a lower price captain play. I think Sutton makes a lot of sense. There is definitely question marks about Emmanuel Sanders right now. I am recording this video on Tuesday. Emmanuel Sanders is questionable. If he were to sit this game, that would mean Courtland Sutton should just see even more targets, get even more volume. So if Sanders is out, that just helps Sutton even more. If Sanders plays, I still think Sutton's a very solid option, given his price tag. But the next guy we're going to look at is Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins, another cheap wide receiver that you could consider as a captain play. He's $10,800 in the captain spot, $7,200 in the flex spot. You definitely want to make sure that you are keeping up with injury news. As I am recording this video on Tuesday, Sammy Watkins is questionable. I would suggest that he probably plays. I would imagine he plays for this game, but that's something you're going to want to keep an eye on. If Watkins does not play, then that's going to make some of the guys in that price range more appealing, like Demarcus Robinson, someone that you can look to. He's a little bit cheaper than Watkins, I believe. Byron Pringle is still really, really cheap on this shutdown slate. If Sammy Watkins were to sit, Byron Pringle would become a very solid option given his price tag. But I just have a feeling Sammy Watkins is going to play. Assuming he does play, have a lot of interest in him given his price tag. even with Tyreek Hill returning for this game, I imagine Watkins should still be penciled in for about 6 to 8 targets. Obviously, upside for more than that, and he's just one of the other high upside receivers that we do have on the slate. Like, you got Watkins, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Courtland Sutton. If Emmanuel Sanders plays, he could be a guy you look to. But other than those 3 to 4 guys, there's really no other receivers that I'm probably going to be targeting unless, say, Watkins is out. Then I'll probably be looking to like Robinson or Pringle. But if you just look in that price range, there's really no other guys I have a ton of interest in. Like, you do have the Kansas City running backs in that price range, but the Kansas City running backs, it's just so questionable about who's going to get the work. Like last week, I think the Chiefs ran like 57 or 58 offensive snaps. McCoy got like exactly 50% of the snaps. I think he got 29 snaps. Damian Williams got 22 snaps, and then Darrell Williams got 7 snaps. So it was a pretty even split between Williams and McCoy. McCoy got about 50%. Damian Williams got about 40%, and then you saw about 10% of snaps go to Darrell Williams. So predicting who's going to have the big game between the KC running backs is so hard to do just because of how they're splitting their work. So I don't really want to go to the Kansas City running backs. If you just look in that price range, you do have like Demarcus Robinson, who you could consider. But if Sammy Watkins plays, I'd rather go to Watkins. You got Sutton in that price range, who obviously I like a lot. You do have Royce Freeman at 6K, who I think is a very strong play. But just in that like 8K to 6K range, there's really like 3 guys I'm penciling in on, and that's Sutton, Watkins, and Freeman. Those are probably the 3 guys I like the most. So definitely do have a lot of interest in Sammy Watkins here, assuming he plays. But now the next guy we're going to look at is a cheap value play that I'll definitely be going to in the flex spot, and that's Noah Fant. Noah Fant's only $3,400 as a cheap flex play. We're going to need to find some value if we want to fit in all the high upside plays at the top. If you want to get Hill, Mahomes, Kelsey in your lineup, you're going to have to find some cheap value. Obviously, the kickers and defenses are available, but I say this in pretty much every video I make, every showdown video I make. I don't really like going to kickers or defenses just because rarely are they in the winning lineup. Rarely do you get 15, 20-point games out of kickers or defenses. Whereas a tight end, a starting tight end, a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 3 could easily go for 15 to 20 DraftKings points if they find the end zone. Noah Fant's a guy that could definitely get into the end zone here. He doesn't see a ton of volume, but he's always a threat in the red zone. He does already have 1 receiving touchdown this year. It was like a screen pass he took to the house. He's a very athletic tight end, one of the more athletic tight ends in the league. And I think he just gives you plenty of upside at this price. If he gets into the end zone, gets like 6 or maybe like 3 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown, which is totally possible, Noah Fant's going to be a really good value. I'm not going to play him at captain, but I'm definitely going to be using him as a cheaper flex play when I'm trying to pivot off of the defenses and the kickers. And playing Kansas City is probably going to force Denver to throw a lot because of how good Kansas City's offense is. They're going to put up points. It's going to force Denver to throw. So game script should be pretty favorable here for the passing game. Joe Flacco is probably going to have to throw the ball at least like 30, 35 times, I would imagine. I expect Fant to get at least 3 or 4 targets. Definitely will probably get some looks in the red zone as well. So really like Noah Fant as a cheap value play, only $3,400. But that's pretty much it for this showdown slate, guys. Pretty much it for some of my favorite plays. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like down below. You'll notice on the screen I do have one of my more recent videos popping up on the screen if you want to check that video out. You can also hover over my logo to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave any comments, any questions, any feedback down below in the comments section. Always appreciate that. Always appreciate your guys' comments. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Good luck on the showdown slate.